So let us now begin our course. The section 1 of this course will be how does AI work. So in this section, we'll be learning how does AI work and basically how ChatGPT works. If we put a prompt to ChatGPT, how does ChatGPT gives us a response, how does it generates a response, and what is artificial intelligence, how does artificial intelligence work. See, ChatGPT is just a model of AI. It is just a one. There are a lot of AI tools that are in the market, and I'll be telling you some of the tools so that you can make the use of it. Now, in this section, we have to learn how does AI work. So you might find this section a little bit boring, but it is important. We need to learn what is AI, was the history of AI, what are the types of AI, what are the neural networks, and on what language, how ChatGPT is made, and how it generates response, so that if we prompt in future, we'll be able to prompt it better. We'll have a clear understanding, a clear visualization, the thing, conceptual clarity. You'll have it all. So let us now begin with the first lecture of this section. How does AI work? In this lecture, we'll be learning what are the neural networks and architecture of AI. So AI, the full form of AI is artificial intelligence. Now, why it is artificial intelligence? You see, which is the smartest animal? Human is the smartest animal because of the brain. And what does brain consist of? So brain consists of neurons, the human brain, and the neuron has two ends. One end is input and another end is output. So it receives some signal and it has to also give an output, some signals, so that some action would be taken further. Now what happens in a human brain? Every neuron is connected to another neuron in some or the other way. It may have a path, it may have certain kind of architecture so that every neuron is connected to it. It has a path so that it can send its message to a particular other neuron. So artificial intelligence is also made on the structure of like our brain. So a neural network is made in AI and we have to learn its architecture. So let us now begin neural network. So let us understand what are neural network. And in this course, we'll be using a ChatGPT a lot so that you'll be able to know how to use ChatGPT in daily life. We'll be learning prompt engineering from ChatGPT, how to prompt, and what are the other, I'll also tell you what are the other AI tools from which you can generate a prompt to give it to another AI tool. So there's a lot to do. So let us now begin with neural networks. Neural networks are a fundamental component of artificial intelligence inspired by the structure and function of the human brain. These networks are composed of layers of nodes or neurons which are designed to recognize patterns and learn from data. As I told you, artificial intelligence is made on the concept of human brain, because artificial intelligence is designed such that it should be able to handle complex tasks like our human brain can handle complex tasks. So AI should be able to handle complex tasks. Now let us learn the key components of a neural network. So the first key component is neurons. These are the basic units that receive input, process it, and pass the output to the next layer. Each neuron performs a mathematical operation on its input. We'll be also seeing a little bit of diagram in a couple of minutes. Now, what are weights? Weights are the parameters within the network that are adjusted during training to minimize error. Weights determine the strength of the connection between neurons. So these are the weights. These are basically the parameters within the network. These are used so that error should be minimized. So they determine what is the strength between different neurons. If one neuron is connected to another neuron, what is the strength between them? Now there are some biases. There are some additional parameters in neurons that help the model to make adjustments and improve accuracy. A little bit of change, a little bit of if the accuracy is deviated from its original point, so changing it a little bit and giving the desired result, giving the best result. So these are known as biases. Now, what are activation functions? Functions applied to the output of a neuron to introduce non-linearity into the model, allowing it to learn complex patterns. Common activation functions include rectified linear unit, sigmoid, tan h, etc, etc. So as I told you, artificial intelligence is able to handle complex problems. So to learn complex patterns, it has some activation functions. Now let us move forward to layers of a neural network. There will be some component in this theory part. So basically the first section of this course will be all theory. From second section we'll be seeing all the practical implementation of this course of prompt engineering. So as I told you, you might find it a little bit boring, but it's important to learn. And from second section onwards, we'll be using ChatGPT directly, and we'll be seeing the real life implementation. Now let us move forward to layers of a neural network. So there are three types of layers: input layer, hidden layer, and output layer. So the input layer is the first layer that receives input data directly. The number of neurons in this layer corresponds to the number of features in the input data. Now comes the hidden layer. Hidden layer, immediate layers where the processing of data occurs. These layers can have multiple neurons and multiple layers, which is why deep neural networks are often referred to as having depth. Now the output layer, the final layer that produces the output of the network. The number of neurons in this layer corresponds to the number of output classes or the nature of the prediction task. Now let us see the diagram of these layers. So these are the input layers. When a user enters some input, so these are the input layers. Now each neuron is connected to another neuron some or the other way. So now these are hidden layers. Each neuron performs some mathematical operation at every place. So it receives an input, it passes to another neuron. Now this receives an input, it does some mathematical operation. What further action is to be taken? Passing on instructions to other neuron. Now there are multiple hidden layers. So we don't have to do anything with the hidden layers. It only matters to us when we are building AI. If we are using AI, so we just need to focus on the input layer and the output layer. We input some data and we get some output. So output layer is the final layer where we get our answer, where we get our result, and input layer where we input our data. So this was the neural network, how it works. Now we need to understand what are the different neural network architectures, on what models neural network is made. So let us now learn some common neural network architecture. Now the most common of this is feed forward neural network, also known as FNN. So the structure of this is the information flows in one direction from the input layer through hidden layers to the output layer. So the structure is designed such that it moves in one direction. Now the application for this is used for tasks like image classification and regression. So making AI tools which will require us to do image classification and regression of it, we can use feed forward neural networks there. So there are different kind of AI tools and different AI softwares. So different neural network architecture is followed in a particular AI, whether it is for a photograph, whether it is for a videograph, or it may be for a text, it may be for text to speech. So voice, photo, video, text, a lot of things combined. So you can see the structure over here. We put 4 inputs here, and this is the input layer. These are the hidden layers, and then some mathematical operation is done. The information is passed on to the next neuron, and then a single output we get. So it moves in one direction. It will not have 4 outputs. It will move in one direction. Now let us come to the second common neural network architecture, that is convolutional neural network, also coined as CNN. So the structure of it is convolutional layers to automatically and adaptively learn spatial hierarchies of features from input images. So what we have to input here, we have to input the image. Now the application of this is predominantly used in image and video recognition and processing. So if we are building an AI tool that requires us to do image and video recognition, we will have to use convolutional neural network, CNN. Now let us move forward. Recurrent neural network, RNN. So neurons have connections that loop back to themselves, enabling the network to maintain a memory of previous inputs. The application of it recurrent neural networks (RNN). So the application is effective for sequential data tasks like language modeling and time series prediction. We have the new version of ChatGPT, that is ChatGPT 4.0, that works for real-time data. It has limited number of prompts, but as ChatGPT 3.5 doesn't offer us real-time analysis, but ChatGPT 4.0. So in future we'll be also learning what are the different versions of ChatGPT and how you can maximize the use of it and how you can learn it. Now let us see long short term memory network, that is also coined as LSTM. So the structure of long short term memory network is a special kind of RNN. So we have studied RNN. In RNN, neurons have connection that loop back to themselves. Now for storing memory, RNN is used, and this long short term memory network is a type of RNN. It is a special kind of RNN capable of learning long-term dependencies with a gating mechanism. The application for ISK is in using for tasks that require learning from long-term dependencies such as speech recognition and language translation. So if we use Google Translator or any other of the translator, so this kind of neural network is present in it. Now let us come forward to transformer networks. The structure is that it relies on self-attention mechanism to handle dependencies between input and output without using recurrent layers. So it doesn't use recurrent layers, it has a self-attention mechanism. We'll be learning in the next few lectures what is self-attention mechanism. Now the application of ISK is particularly powerful for NLP task. Now NLP, we have a special dedicated lecture for NLP. We'll be learning NLP there. Now the architecture behind models like BERT, GPT-3, GPT-4. So the ChatGPT is based on transformer network. We have studied different kind of neural networks and their architecture. How does the architecture of neural network is there. Now in this ChatGPT 3 and 4 and 4.0 transformer network, all these GPTs are made on transformer network or transformer neural network. Now how to train neural network? So there are different ways to train neural network. We have to train neural network so that it gives us the best result. Now these are of different kinds. How to train it? We can do forward propagation. Input data passes through the network and output is calculated. So this is one of the forward propagation. Now loss function, a function that measures the difference between the predicted output and the actual output. Common loss functions include mean squared error for regression task and cross entropy loss for classification task. Now comes our backward propagation, backpropagation, the process of adjusting weights by calculating the gradient of the loss function with respect to each weight and bias. This is done by using the chain rule of calculus. If you have learned differentiation or integration, you must have learned there how chain rule works. So that is completely a mathematical topic. We won't be discussing it here. The next is optimization algorithms. So methods like stochastic gradient descent, SGD, ADAM, or RMS prop are used to update weights iteratively to minimize the loss. We discussed weight is a parameter in the functioning of AI. So optimizing algorithm by maintaining weights to minimize the loss, to minimize the error that we get. Now there are some regularization techniques. We'll also skip some of the unimportant data. We'll just go through a reading, basically understand it, but not in depth. This course is basically made so that you'll be able to learn prompt engineering. This is not some school or university course that you have to give an exam and you have to pass. This is for your knowledge so that you live a better life. Exactly. With ChatGPT, you can make things so easy. Your daily school homework, your office work, or maybe you want to learn anything fast. So you'll be able to learn everything through this course. Now what are the examples of neural network? So for image recognition, CNN is used. Natural language processing, NLP, transformers are used for tasks like translation, sentiment analysis, text generation. For speech recognition, long short-term memories and RNNs, recurrent neural network, as we discussed in their application, it is used. Now, autonomous vehicles, as we know, the biggest player in the market, Tesla has autonomous vehicles. It has artificial intelligence and it lets drive the car on its own. So neural networks process sensor data to make driving decisions. So this is also one kind of neural network. In healthcare also, AI models assisting in diagnosing diseases from medical images and predicting patient outcomes. So in healthcare, AI models are also used for diagnosing some diseases. There are a lot of machinery and techniques where neural networks are used, and when neural networks are used, so AI is used in healthcare also. So this was the lecture 1, and in this we discussed the neural networks and architecture. So thank you. Till then, bye bye. Take care. We'll meet in the next lecture.